guys, I got some bad news for y'all. Winter's coming. I mean, I got no stupid cold puns. I mean, Mr. Freeze can cover that. But here are some tips on deterring old man winter's attempts on freezing you alive. So, without any further ado, let's get started. Ugh, it's chilly. Hey, what's going on, guys? Skip Walker another video on the guide, and right now what I'm talking about is cold weather. From the look here on my background, it looks like a wonderful place to have a vacation, especially in these winter times. I can assure you it is cold. It is absolutely cold. This is northern New Mexico. We are at the southern tip of Colorado, and at the time that this video was made, it recently snowed, so all that wind is just blowing all that chill down our way. So thank you, Colorado. And now we're going into a winter phase. No longer we're going into fall, we're going into a winter phase, no matter what. Especially if you live here in New Mexico. I mean, we got all 4 seasons rolled into one state. Yeah, we are blessed. We definitely are. Now, I'm not going to give you a little loadout video of what you should wear and what you cannot wear when it comes down to winter. What I can tell you of what you cannot wear during winter, especially when you're playing airsoft, just don't wear one base of clothing and figure that it's going to be okay throughout the entire time. It will not. But aside from that, I can really tell you just bundle up whenever you're going out to airsoft in the fall or winter, because those cold winds, I can tell you as much, they're not so fun, especially when you're trudging through snow. At least here in New Mexico, you're not fighting anything like that. You're not fighting snow, ice, and frost. Not for now, at least, but I know I am going to eventually, at least. But right now, just fight off those winds as much as possible, because unlike me, I was a fool not to go out with earmuffs, and that was bad. That's really, really bad. And that's number one tip I can give you. Just bundle up with however you can, with as much as you can. For me, for instance, I'm wearing 3 layers of clothing, including 2 of my tunics, and my first base layer is a cotton shirt, because at least cotton doesn't stick to me as much, especially when I sweat, when I'm doing so much physical activity, so that's a good thing right there. But aside from my loadout, again, I'm just applying the system of just bundling up as much as I can, especially when it comes to this freezing weather. And here comes that wind again. Old man winter is not done with this state, no sure. Second tip I can give you guys as well, be sure to do your gameplay as limited as possible, especially if the weather gets to the point where it's just frost, ice, and snow. I mean, the winds you can deal with, especially like how it is right now, but when it comes down to real rough weather, if you're having real conditions where it can turn from a fun game into like a class 3 kill storm, yeah, you definitely want to go back inside for that. It's no sense just going out and about trying to kill yourself, especially when it comes down to harsh winter weather. Believe me, I know. So that's what I got for tip number 2. Be sure to get indoors when things get rough, when they really do get rough. And tip number 3 is very easy. This one definitely goes to the player. I mean, if the weather is too rough for you, or if the gameplay is too rough for you, or even the cold is way too much for you, I highly suggest that you get indoors as well, no matter what. I mean, the other fellows can do whatever they want, but this is practically on you, the committed player. Now, this tip goes on to the grounds of you new committed airsoft players out there. This is practically on you. Just like how it is in hot weather. I mean, if the heat is too much for you, there's no sense of you getting heat stroke. Just get inside and stay indoors and stay cool. And this is the opposite for you guys who are trying to survive in cold weather. I mean, if it gets way too cold for you guys, or if it gets way too extreme, by all means, get out of there as fast as possible. I know you're eager to play the sport, especially during winter, but it's no sense, to get sick or injured just because, the other fellas are going to do it. It's like the limits of any other sport that you played. You know your limits, you know when to turn in. I mean, think of it as not quitting. It's just more like a tactical retreat. So yeah, because I'm getting cold right now. And tip number 4 is, it's pretty easy. I mean, if you want to warm up without going home, I mean, just increase your physical activity. Run, crawl, jump. I mean, do anything just to keep that heart pumping so you'll be able to brew up that internal heat within inside you. My physiology may be a little rusty, but I can tell you right now that the human body temperature is at least about 98.8 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's a lot of warmth inside of you. So if you want to get warm really, really fast, be sure to increase your physical activity. I mean, that's a tip that I learned from one of my buddies back in Task Force 505. So yeah, it's getting chilly. I should probably increase my physical activity by talking less and running more, huh? Alright guys, that's all I got. 4 unique tips that you can follow when playing cold weather. Now tip number 1 applies to everybody. Be sure to bundle up in cold weather no matter what. You don't want a case of freezer burn or trench foot to ruin your entire life, so yeah, be sure to follow tip number 1 to the letter. Now tip number 2 applies to the entire group. If it gets way too extreme for you guys in this cold weather, be sure to perform an RTB and get the heck out of there as fast as possible. I mean, it's no sense for you guys to delay the inevitable whenever you're playing cold weather. So yeah, follow tip number 2. Now tip number 2 applies to all new committed airsoft players. If it gets way too rough for you guys, if the weather is way too cold for you, then by all means perform an RTB and head back to base as soon as possible. So yeah, it's definitely on you if you want to be more committed to the sport, but again, it's more power to you if you can actually go through it. I'm just reminding you to actually be that responsible individual and be sure to take care of yourself in the face of danger, because again, the weather has that potential to be harmful on you. Yeah, it really is. So be sure to follow tip number 3 personally for you guys out there. And finally, tip number 4 is pretty easy and simple to follow, and I believe that everyone should follow this. If you really want a quick way to get warm, be sure to perform a lot of physical activity. I mean, just go around running and gunning, or possibly even getting to the point of carrying somebody from point A all the way to point B just to get a medevac. But again, just increase your physical activity in order to get warm. It's a very fast, prudent way to actually stay warm. Because the internal body heat is 98.8 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's important for you to keep the blood pumping and the blood circulating. So yeah, I believe that everyone should follow tip number 4 because, it's an easy way to get warm. Alright guys, that's all I got for you, and hopefully you take some wisdom out of this video that I just posted. And be sure to bundle up, stay warm, and be sure to get all the kills out there. And be sure to click that notification bell so you'll be able to see the new videos I posted. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe, because the more subscribers I get, the more content I'll be able to pull out. So yeah, it's getting really exciting, especially with new Milestone events coming around these days. But right now, this is Skinwalker, signing off.